Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look at some underwater footage of these three baits on a drop shot. I picked these three baits because of the difference in density. We have something very buoyant, the Zman trickshot, a pack of Xzone hotshot minnow, which is something I consider to be neutrally buoyant, and a heavier bait, the good old flatworm from Berkley. I will look at these three baits rigged up exactly the same to see how density really affects their action. All right, the first one we'll do is the trick shot. So you immediately suspend it. It has its tail up. So I rigged this. So I rigged the bait on 4-pound line on owner mosquito light hook number 1 size and a 1/8 drop shot weight. You know, perfectly still. We see the Z-Man has the tail up, head down. Pretty typical of a buoyant bait. If you don't move it, it almost stands vertically, which doesn't really look that great, to be honest. But if you keep moving it, it does look like a feeding minnow a little bit. So I would say this bait is probably better for dragging. For dead sticking, I would try to pick something else because it really looks a lot better when it's worked fast rather than slow. With a lot of shakes. And next up we have the flatworm from Berkley, Max Scent. Action wise, it doesn't really have much, to be honest. After it's dropped into the water, it kind of just sits tail down. Not much action. You can shake it to give a little bit of quiver, but still, it is a very heavy bait, so it's gonna sink. It's not gonna float at all. It's not gonna look like a feeding minnow. You know, if you give it a little bit of slack, it's just gonna lay there. But the bait does give me a lot of bites though, even though the action is pretty much nothing. It's it makes up in scent, which is very important. All right, kitty, hold on. Yeah. If you work it really erratically, I mean, it gives a little bit of better action, but really, you can do the same thing with a hotshot minnow. It's gonna look a little bit better. Maybe this is a reaction bait. When you drop on them, it sinks super fast, and they come to investigate and you know, smells the bait and then just chomps it down. All right. But yeah, that's the Max Scent flatworm for you. Finally, this is the hotshot minnow. I consider it to be more of a neutrally buoyant bait with a similar density to water. And what it allows it to do is not have its tail too far up or down. It's got a slight downward angle, which means it's just slightly lighter than water. All right. And with regards to movement, I think it's good for pretty good for dead sticking. Just hold it and shake very lightly. Gives the tail a nice quiver. You can work it fast too. It doesn't look too bad. For dragging, not as good. I would say small hops makes it look the best. Or just sitting still and shaking it. Gives it a nice little belly roll. So from experience, I really have caught the most fish on the flatworm. I don't know the exact reason, but that's just my experience. I think when it comes down to it, when fish gets close, they're gonna smell the bait. You know, and that really is the biggest factor in enticing the bite. So even though the flatworm, the action looks the worst, it gets the best result. In colder waters, in warmer water, you know, the difference isn't as bad. They'll bite just about, you know, anything. The smallies especially, but as water gets colder, they're more lethargic, and I really find they bite the flatworm a lot more, which has the least amount of action. The hotshot minnow really is somewhere in the middle, and then lastly the Zman, which maybe just have a little bit too much action. So that's my review of these 3 baits on the Dropshot. If the conditions are perfect, the fish are biting anything you throw at them, I would say go with a trickshot. They last forever. If the condition is slightly worse, but it's not too bad, water's warm enough, maybe they'll chase a little bit. You throw the hotshot minnow. It's got decent action. Suspense in the water column pretty well. It's a little bit more durable than the flatworm. So that's kind of the middle road bait. Probably my go-to bait to start things off. And then you have the good old flatworm. If the bite gets tough and the water's cold, you know, that's my go-to bait. The scent it's just very important. No, I didn't believe it before, but you know, my experience last 2 years has proven it pretty true. They see the flatworm drop down. They investigate, smell the bait, and then they'll eat it. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason it's so popular and it costs so much because they work. Yeah, anyways, that's my review. Thanks for watching. My next video is gonna be my kayak reviews.